Yes, welcome back. We are going to continue from where we left last time, and we are going to talk about role of vaccination. Why do we need vaccination in our life? Why is it important? Now, as I told you that a vaccine is made up of attenuated, dead, born and virulent microorganism that stimulates cell in the immune system to recognize the disease and attack disease causing agent through production of antibodies. One role of vaccine is that it protects the individual from infections to many diseases. Like for example, we have smallpox vaccine, tuberculosis, and polio vaccine. So these are diseases which are very dangerous. Some of them are bones, some of them are of the respiratory system, some of them are of the skin. So once this vaccine is given, you know you are safe from these diseases, so that if you are exposed, you are likely to not to have problems. Now, this is like smallpox, tuberculosis, and tetanus were killer diseases. But this is no longer the case because we have vaccine with us. Diphtheria, DPT, vaccine protects children against diphtheria, whooping cough, and tetanus. Okay, BCG, vaccine is injected at birth to children to protect them against tuberculosis. Immediately when a child is given birth to, you have to be injected. Measles used to be a killer disease, but today, vaccine injected in children at the age of 9 months prevents it. At birth, children are given inoculation through the mouth to protect them from polio. And even after, I think up to 5 years of age, a child is still being given that drug. Now, that brings us to the end of immune response. Allergy. Now, I've heard people saying that I'm allergic to this. What's an allergy? An allergy is hypersensitive reaction to an antigen. Once that antigen has been introduced, the antigen could be harmless. Can be having pollen grain, can be having dust, can be having certain type of foods, bringing about an allergic reaction. But we find that in response, the antibody is going to react violently. This antigen in an attempt to neutralize it. Now, an allergy is hypersensitive reaction to an antigen, or the antibody. Antibody reacts with the antigen violently. People with allergies are oversensitive to foreign materials like dust, pollen grain, some food, some drug, and some air pollutants. So, allergic reaction leads to production of histamine by the body, and this histamine can cause swelling and pain. So, administration of antihistamine is one way of controlling allergic reaction. Now, allergic reaction can be controlled by avoiding allergens and The allergens are the substances that control, that causes allergies, pollen grains, the drugs, etc. And administration of antihistamine drugs. Now, how does allergic reaction manifest themselves? One, you can have rashes in your skin. You can feel some itching. You can sneeze. You can vomit. You can have difficulty in breathing. So those are some of the ways that allergic reaction manifests themselves. Now today, we concluded that we want to begin another topic, or rather a subtopic. Not really another subtopic, but another topic. And this is going to be gaseous exchange in plants and animals. Gaseous exchange in plants and animals is going to be our items of discussion. We are done with transport, plants, and animals. Now, we want to see gaseous exchange, plants and animals. Now, gaseous exchange is simply passing of respiratory gases. Passing of respiratory gases across the respiratory surface is called gaseous exchange. And the respiratory gases we are talking about here is carbon dioxide and oxygen gas. These are the main respiratory gases we are going to be talking about. Now, what is the necessity for gaseous exchange in living organism? You see, living organism especially need oxygen to produce energy. And this energy is obtained from the process of respiration. So living organisms need energy, and oxygen gas is very vital for the process of respiration. At the same time, plants also need carbon dioxide for the process of respiration. So we find that gaseous exchange is very vital in our life because it enables these gases to be brought in and brought out. So living organisms require energy to perform cellular activities. The energy comes from breakdown of food and respiration. Carbon dioxide is a byproduct of respiration, and circulation in cell is harmful, which has to be removed. So while this carbon dioxide is essential for plants, but for animal, it is harmful. Therefore, it has to be removed. Now, most organisms use oxygen for respiration, which is obtained from the environment. Now, photosynthetic cells of green plants use carbon dioxide as a raw material, as I already explained, for photosynthesis and produce oxygen as a byproduct. The movement of these gases between the cell, organism, and environment comprises gaseous exchange. Now, the movement of these gases, which gases are these? Carbon dioxide and oxygen gas. The process of moving oxygen into the body and carbon dioxide outside the body is called breathing or ventilation. Now, gaseous exchange involves the passing of oxygen and carbon dioxide through the surface. Diffusion is the main physiological process that is used here. Now, gaseous exchange in plants. That's the first one. Now, as we have said, plants during the day will need carbon dioxide, and oxygen will be given out as a byproduct. So during the day, plants will need carbon dioxide for production of foods that are complex substances such as glucose, while oxygen will be needed for respiration, but only a little bit of it. But majority will be given up as a byproduct. At night, respiration will continue, while photosynthesis, because there's no sunlight, will be stopped. So we are going to give out carbon dioxide, or other plants will be giving out carbon dioxide as a byproduct, while oxygen will be taken in for respiration. Oxygen is required by plants for the production of energy, cellular activities. Carbon dioxide is required as a raw material for the synthesis of complex organic substances. Now, oxygen and carbon dioxide are obtained from the atmosphere in the case of terrestrial plants and from surrounding water in the case of aquatic plants. Gaseous exchange takes place mainly through stomata. Now that we know that gaseous exchange will take place in the stomata, and the stomata is being controlled by what we call the opening and closing of stomata is controlled by what we call guard cells. The guard cells are the one responsible for the closing and opening stomata. So these are guard cell, this is another guard cell. So, and this is stomata. So guard cell is the one responsible for closing and opening of stomata. Now we are going to study the structure of a guard cell, such that by the time we're done, we can go to what we call mechanism of opening and closing the stomata now. The stomata is surrounded by a pair of guard cells. The cells of the guard cells such that it changes internal pressure. So when they become turgid, they bulge outwards and the stomata opens. But when it uses its turgor, the guard cell uses the turgor, you find that it becomes flaccid and stomata closes, not all of it, but it majorly closes. So it can remain very small opening. It doesn't complete close, because remember, stomata is the nose of the leaves. This is where the structure used for breathing, so it cannot completely close. So stomata does not completely close. Now, guard cell control the opening and closing. Now, so for that, you can also say they are joined at the ends. The cell wall facing the four inner walls are thicker. The inner walls are thicker than the outer walls. Inner wall thicker than the outer, and that is going to help in what we call opening and closing. So being that the outer wall are very thick, they are able to stretch compared to the inner wall. The upper wall are thin, therefore they are able to stretch than the inner wall, which are kind of thick. So we are going to stop there for today. So the next time we come, rather we have a class, we are going to discuss the mechanism of closing and opening stomata. Then from there, we can read that. Thank you. Bye-bye.